Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to factor quadratic trinomials when a is not 1 using the trial and error method. Now what I first want to show you real quick is how to factor, or just review this, a quadratic when a is equal to 1. So when the coefficient of our x squared term, which is our a, when that's a 1, and that's what we have here. It's 1 right there. So in that case, what you need to do is find numbers that multiply to be 24, positive 24. So you have positive 24 times positive 1, negative 24 times negative 1, positive 8 times positive 3, negative 8 times negative 3. We have positive 4 times positive 6, negative 4 times negative 6, positive 2 times positive 12, and negative 2 times negative 12. All these numbers will multiply to be positive 24. But we have to choose one pair of numbers. We have to choose from this list of pairs that will, at the same time, add to be negative 10 to get our B term, right? We want these to add to be negative 10. Multiply to get our C term, but add to get our B term. So next step you do is you're going to write down 2 sets of parentheses, and you'll write down x here, x here. So x, when we check this, when we FOIL it, we want it to FOIL to get back our original trinomial. So x times x is x squared. Now we have to choose again from this list to get negative 10. So which pair of numbers will add to be negative 10? And that's pretty easy to see, be this pair. So then we would write down minus 4, minus 6. And we can FOIL to check. So our first terms multiply to get x squared. Our outside would multiply to get negative 6. Inside, minus 4x. And then our last would be plus 24. So we get x squared, this is minus 10x plus 24. So we get our original trinomial. And so we know that these two binomials that we put together is this quadratic factor. This is the factored form of this quadratic. So pretty easy. It's pretty step by step. Okay, so now I want to factor something, a quadratic that looks like this. So notice now our a term is not a 1 anymore. So when that happens, it becomes a little more involved, a little trickier. The more factors, especially the more factors that you get, it becomes a little more trickier. And so I guess the bad news is there's not really like a step-by-step process, kind of. You have to play with the numbers more. But the good news is it's a lot of fun playing with the numbers. And it becomes easier as you do more of them. You see what factors you need quicker. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing you need to do when factoring a quadratic when a is not 1 using the trial and error method is to write down factors of your a term. So numbers that multiply to the coefficient of x squared, numbers that multiply to be a, so 2 times 1. And here, then you have to go and write down numbers that multiply to be 5, so factors of 5. Then you're going to write down your 2 sets of parentheses because you're going to create 2 binomials. And there's 3 blanks in each binomial. So your first term, your plus or minus sign, your last term, first term, plus or minus sign, your last term. So 3 blanks. So we know when we put our first terms down here, then when we multiply those, when we FOIL, it gets us this term. So the first terms in each binomial will multiply together to get that first term in our trinomial. And now we have to be careful how we place these. Now notice when I wrote down the factors of the C term, I didn't worry about signs. You don't worry about signs here. You just multiply numbers that multiply to be 5, and that's it. So now I have to place these in such a way so that when I FOIL, when I get my outside, when I multiply my outside terms, the product of that, get the product of my inside terms, and combine those, I want to get 11. So I'm going to place 5 here, and I'm going to place 1 here. Okay, so if I look at my outside terms and I multiply those, I'm not worried about signs yet. We'll worry about the signs in a minute. That's a 10x. And I multiply inside. That's an x. 10 x's plus another x will get me 11. So we're not done yet. So now we got to put our signs. So I'm going to place, so I need to multiply to get a positive 5. So the only way I can multiply 2 numbers to get a positive number is if both of the signs are both positive or both negative. That's the only way I can do that. So give me a second here. Okay, so I'm going to put, so both positive, both negative. But they have to add to be a positive number. So I'm going to put both positive signs. So let's check that. Let's FOIL. Yeah. First, terms, outside terms, our inside terms, and our last term. So we get 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. So when I multiplied these two binomials, I got my original quadratic. So that means I factored this correctly. Both of these binomials that we created up here are the factors of this trinomial. So yeah, let's do another one. Let's see. Let's do this one. Okay. So we're going to find factors of our A term. So numbers that multiply to be 10, 10 times 1, 5 times 2. And then you find factors of C. I'm going to write down 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, so one of these pairs of numbers, so now in our previous problem, we only had one pair and one pair. Well, when you have more than one pair in your list, you have to choose one of these pairs has to be matched up with one of these pairs in the list. Now, there's only one pair here, so that makes it easier. So one of these pairs is going to match up with one of these pairs to create this trinomial. Now, what I'm looking for right now is I want to create my minus 17. That's what I'm looking at when I'm choosing my pairs. So if I look at this pair and this pair, what I do is I take 10 times the first number. So 10 times 3 is 30. And then I take the second number times the second number. 1 times 1 is 1. So 30 and 1, whether we add or subtract 30 and 1, will we ever get 17? No, we won't. And I'm not really worried about signs yet. Let's try multiplying 10 with the 1. We multiply 10 with the 3, now let's multiply 10 with 1. So I get 10, and 1 times 3 is 3. So 10 and 3 or 10 minus 3, will that ever get us 17? No. So then I look at 5 and 3. I look at this pair with this pair. So 5, this first number times this first number is 15. 5 times 3 is 15. And then the second number and the second number is 2 times 1 is 2. So 15 and 2, well, 15 plus 2 or 15 minus 2 ever get us 17? Yeah, 15 plus 2 is 17. So these are the two pairs of numbers I want. Now that process I just went through with multiplying the first times the first, and then this last times the last, and then switching them around and trying to get, seeing if they add or subtract to get me this middle number, that will go quicker the more you practice. It goes very quickly. You can get it within a couple of seconds. And when you're doing this, you're not really worried about the sign yet. You're just trying to get that middle number. So I know from foiling when I place these numbers, I want to place them first because they multiply. The first numbers in each binomial will multiply to get me the first term of my quadratic. So remember, each binomial, we can think of it as having 3 parts, okay? So first term, our plus or minus, our last term. First term, plus or minus, last term. So now I need to place 3 and 1, okay? So I'm going to place 3 here because I want that outside to be 15. I want to get a 15. By placing 3 here, I get a 15. And I'll place the 1 here to get the 2 because, right, 15 plus 2 will be 17. Now, I'm still not done. I have to worry about my signs. So I need to multiply 2 numbers to get a positive number, but at the same time add to be negative. The only way to multiply 2 numbers to get to be positive is if they're both either positive or both negative. But they have to add to be negative. So I'm going to choose both negative. So now let's FOIL to see if we placed everything correctly and chose the correct signs. So we do first terms multiplied. Outside is 15x. Inside is minus 2x. And the last is a plus 3. You get 10x squared minus 17x plus 3. So this is my original quadratic. So this is my answer. These two binomials are the factors of this trinomial here. 10x squared minus 17x plus 3. So again, as you do more practice, this goes a lot quicker. Choosing your signs will go a lot quicker. And then you'll just see it right away as you're choosing this in your signs that you won't even need to FOIL. The whole process goes quicker, of course, with the more practice you get. And it's a lot of fun playing with the numbers. Let's do another one. We have 4x squared minus 4x minus 15. So let's look at numbers that multiply to be 4. 4 times 1, 2 times 2. Numbers that multiply to be 15. 15 times 1, 5 times 3. Again, at this step in the process, I'm not worried about signs. So I'm going to write down my 2 sets of parentheses. So one of these pairs of numbers is going to match up with one of these pairs of numbers to get us this whole trinomial. What I'm looking at for right now is I want to get 4. Again, I'm not really concerned with signs. I just want to get a 4. So if I try 4 times 15, that's 60. 1 and 1 is 1. 60 plus 1 or 60 minus 1 will give us 4. If I go 4 times 1, that's 4. 15 times 1 is 15. 15 and 4, 15 minus 4 will give us 4. Let's try this pair with this pair. Let's see. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 6. 10 plus 6 or 10 minus 6, will that get us 4? Sure. 10 minus 6 will get me 4. So I'm going to choose these 2 pairs. So my first pair goes in the first spot in each binomial because I know they're going to multiply to get my first term in my quadratic and my trinomial. And then I have to place 5 and 3. Now, I want to place, well, let's say I placed them this way. Let's say I placed 3 here. Well, in this case, I guess doesn't really matter. But yeah, we can place 3 here and 5 here. Okay. So let's look and see if I get 4. So 6, 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so again, I'm going to get my 4. 10 minus 6 is 4. Okay, so now what I want to do, still not done yet, I need to make sure I place my signs correctly. I want to multiply 2 numbers that multiply. I want to multiply 2 signs that will get me negative. So positive times a negative is a negative, right? That's the only way I can get a negative sign is if they're different, positive and a negative. And at the same time, they have to add to be negative 4. Okay, so I want my bigger product to be negative. So if I put a minus sign here and a plus sign here, that'll get me my bigger product to be negative. So if I do, if I FOIL to check first, that's 4x squared. And then outside is plus 6x. Inside is minus 10x. And last is minus 15. You get 4x squared minus 4x minus 15. So I got my original quadratic. So these binomials are the factors of this trinomial. So let's just say I hadn't placed my signs correctly. What if I had, so going back here, I placed 3 and 5 here. What if I had placed a minus here and a plus here? So, and then I FOIL. So first, outside, inside, and last. And then I combine like terms. Negative 6x plus 10x is 4x minus 15. I got a positive 4x. I didn't get the negative. I didn't get the original trinomial. So I would have to try again. Okay, I would have flipped these signs like here. So you flip them around, try it again, and we see that we get the second. We'll see that we get the original trinomial once I flip them. So again, this process goes, quickly once you're getting practice. So let's do another one. Let me see. Put that here. Okay. Let's do one more. Okay, so we just did that one. Let's do let's see. 20x squared plus 39x plus 18. Okay, so numbers that multiply to be 20. 20 times 1, 10 times 2, 5 times 4. Numbers that multiply to be 18. So all these numbers multiply to be 18. All these numbers multiply to be 20. And I want to get 39. So I'm looking which pairs of numbers will get me a 39. That's what I'm trying to do here. Let's see. I can see 30 and 12. I'm looking for 39. 18 and 20. 24 and 15. Okay, let's look at these here. Let's try those. That catches my eye. So if I multiply 5 times 3, that's 15. And 4 times 24 is 24. 15 and 24. If I add those two together, will that get me a 39? Yep. So that's these two pairs. So I'm going to put 5x, 4x, and I want 15 and 24. So I put the 3 here and the 6 here. I want them to be both positive because I need to multiply to be positive, but add to be positive as well. So I need it to be both positive. Because I can't have them, I know two numbers can multiply to be negative and get a positive. You can multiply two negative numbers, you get a positive, but when you add two negative numbers, you don't get a positive. I want them both positive. And that's it. So we can FOIL. So first, outside, inside, and last. We get 20x squared plus 39x plus 18, which is our original trinomial. So these two binomials are the factors of our trinomial. Okay. Let me do one more. So numbers that multiply to be 4, multiply to be 9. I want to get that 6. So I get 36, get 1, 36 plus 1 or minus 1 is not going to get me 6. You get 4. Here, 4 times 1 is 4. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 1, yeah, it's 9. 4, 9. 4 minus 9 is not going to get me 6. Let's see, 18, 2. 18 plus 2 minus 2 is not going to get me 6. Let's try this. 2 and 3. 2 and 3, that's 6 and 6. 6 plus 6 or 6 minus 6 won't give me 6. This 4 times 1 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. 12 plus or minus 3 won't get me 6. I can't get a 6 out of these numbers. When you cannot factor using integers, it is not factorable. You can say not factorable, prime, irreducible. We can't factor this quadratic using integers. Can't do it. We can't get a 6 from these pairs of numbers. So it's prime. I just wanted to show you all that real quick. All right, guys. I really hoped that helped. You really do get quicker as you do more of them. Again, just to recap, write down factors of A, factors of C, one pair from this group of numbers, one pair from this group of numbers. In this step, I'm looking for that middle term, that B term, by taking turns, multiplying 5 times each one of these, and then the 4 would be times the other number, placing them into your binomials. Once you place them in your binomials and worry about the signs, FOIL to check. And again, the whole entire process goes quicker as you do more. Again, I hope that helped, and feel free to check out my other videos, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.